Good afternoon, Rexburg. This is Travis Green, Rick Robinson, and Travis Brown here at the Rexburg Hustle today. We're excited to meet with you. We have a great show for you today. We're glad that you're here. Rick, what do we got on the docket?
Well, we've got Travis Brown. You are our first return guest.
That's right.
So we're really excited to have you back, and happy 10th anniversary of Balloon Boy. Do you guys remember Balloon Boy?
What's Balloon Boy?
That was 10 years ago, if you guys remember Balloon Boy. If you don't, look it up on YouTube. Do you remember Balloon Boy?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. Okay, it's all over the news today. It's
yeah.
All right, well,
I'll have to look it up.
Look it up, Rexburg. Balloon Boy. Your mind will be blown. So we've got Travis Brown back as a return guest.
Right.
This time it's different. Last time we talked all about the farmers market.
Yes.
Your involvement in it, your wife's involvement in it. We talked a little bit about your daughter Adeline.
Yeah.
This time, being back here on the show, we have a whole new spin on why you're here.
Right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now, in case Rexburg doesn't know, in case they haven't seen signs all around Rexburg.
Right. Currently, I am running for mayor. I declared myself a candidate in the mayoral election here coming up on Tuesday, November 5th, and I'm just hoping to get everybody more involved. So trying to get out there and be a part of the community more than I was already before.
So you had a lot of experience, again, as Rick had mentioned from our last episode with you, your involvement in the farmers market, how you grew that and made it really a success. I mean, It's a great thing that's going on in Rexburg. Well, it's over now for the summer, but for the summer. But with that involvement and your experience, tell us about your vision. What made you want to step into this arena of politics, of being in the mayoral candidate? What's that about? What made you get there?
I just recognized that people need to be more involved in what's going on. There were a lot of things in talking with some friends of mine and others even at the market where there was some uncertainty on kind of what the city was doing, what was going on. And I think that people just need to be more informed. They need to have a better idea of what the plans for the city are, how the city is moving forward to help them. And I felt like, that's something I can do. I can help people be involved. I can help hold city council, the city hall accountable to the public, because as public servants, we work for them. It's not the other way around. And I felt like instead of waiting for somebody else to step up and do something, I was going to submit myself as a candidate, and I feel like I am ready to do something about it. I didn't want to wait for it, so let's do it now.
Yeah.
What has been, I've seen different newspaper headlines, news articles, different things. What has been Rexburg's reaction to you running for mayor?
I overall have had a lot of positive response. There's people who are telling me to not be here, go home, you're not from here. It's like, well, I've lived here 8 years. Rexburg is home.
Good enough.
Yeah.
I've decided to stay. Yeah. I plan on raising my family here with our daughter. It's a wonderful community. Anybody who's lived here knows that this is a great city, and I want to be a part of it. I think some of the things that I've heard is a lot of concerns on just, well, what is the city doing about this issue or this issue? And it's like, that's part of my platform, is I want people to not have those questions. I want people to know what's going on without having to ask. They can just be informed, not have to go try and track information down or ask questions post-project, like see what's coming up and just be more involved overall.
How I'm sorry, Rick.
No, go ahead.
How do you envision doing that? More communication, more heads up, projects that are coming, and when they're happening, so there's no surprises or wake up one day and it's like, why is the street torn up, or whatever the thing may be. How would you implement that?
So I plan on, as soon as I'm elected into office, every city council meeting will be live streamed. People will need to be able to get on and see what's going on. It's hard for people to be involved right now. They have jobs and kids and sports activities, and people are very involved in this community, which helps make Rexburg what it is. And getting to City Hall can be difficult for a lot of people.
Attending the actual meeting and spending the time there is a barrier, but if it's live streamed, they can...
Yeah, and that means if it's live streamed, then they can get on at any point following the meeting and see exactly what happened. They don't have to wait 2 weeks for the minutes to be posted. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important to try and get people involved through social media. People go there to see the news, to see what's happening, see what's going on. I know that the city does a great job at making every project publicly accessible, but people aren't going to the city website to track down information that they don't know is available. And so I think it's very important to push information to the public so that there are no surprises. So if something happens, they knew it was coming because it was planned for.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I thought you made a really good point before the podcast. Is we live in 2009. We live in 2019. Yeah. We have things available to us to help get the word out about things that nobody's using.
We're live streaming right now.
We are live streaming right now, exactly, to Rexburg.
Right.
So the capabilities are there. They're just not being utilized. So I think that's, I could count on one hand how many city council meetings I've been to.
Right.
And it's probably that many.
Right.
And generally when I go, the turnout is not very big. The one time I went, there were not very many people there.
Right.
So, and I think that's a really neat thing because you stated, and I wrote this down, you said, I want people's voices to be heard in Rexburg.
I do, for real. So that's the biggest thing that I want. I want people to be involved. The voter turnout for the last several Rexburg elections has been 10% or less of the Rexburg population.
Wow.
We need more people involved. And I think that helping it be pushed out to the public will get more people involved. I think if we make the effort if I can make the effort as a mayor to help people know what's going on, then they will want to voice their opinions. And people need to know that they are being heard. They don't want to speak to a wall. I think and very strongly feel that the city is responsible for helping the public feel heard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, I know one thing that has been said many times is, and it's been newspaper headlines, is a millennial is running for mayor. I keep referring to you as the millennial, mayoral candidate.
Yeah.
If I said that all correctly.
Sure.
Why is that not a bad thing? People seem to use it as something negative that a millennial's running.
As if yesteryear is better.
Right.
Because we're not going forward, right? I mean,
Right. There has been negative connotation with the word millennial throughout American society for sure. I think that we're at a time in 2019 where millennials are stepping up. Millennials are filling positions of authority. They're starting businesses, running very successful businesses. Millennials are hustling. They're working one job and got a side hustle started on the other side. Millennials are
it's their time.
And I never really considered myself a millennial because I was on like the very beginnings of that generation. I'll be 31 in January, and I always felt the millennials were 10 years behind me, right? And so we've got another generation coming up behind us already, Generation Z, where they're stepping up into the world, and I think millennials, that generation is just ready to move forward and put on our shoulders that which has been done before. It was Ronald Reagan who said that freedom isn't inherited, it's fought for, and it needs to be fought for from generation to generation. And I feel right now the millennial generation is ready to fight for freedoms.
So there's a lot of value in our grandfathers, right? The people who came before us.
Yeah.
The current mayor, great guy, very experienced, a lot of great things there.
And he started a lot of projects here in Rexburg that Rexburg needed, and I want to move forward with the plans and things that he has put in place. Yeah. I don't plan on stopping the good that is moving forward.
No, absolutely, and I certainly don't feel that from you at all. So what I'm thinking is the history, those who have come before, Jerry Merrill, the one before him, they've built a great foundation. They've done wonderful things. But what you're saying is, I think, is that's good, solid, a great foundation and a base that's been built. But times change, things are evolving, more millennials are coming up. Maybe there's a need for someone who can understand that time, that stage of life, that group of people who are the future. So let's move forward now. I mean, let's take a millennial to understand the millennials who are coming up, who are going to create the future of Rexburg. I don't know. Is that
I think that's very accurate. Okay. There's a large demographic of Rexburg that are young families, and there are people in Rexburg who have a lot of influence, who have been here their entire lives, who have had families and their kids are growing up and having children. And so I think it's time now to try and keep up with some of the growth that is inevitable here, to have younger people involved in the politics.
That's great. Our Jerry Merrill, for example, our current mayor, great guy. He's done a great job and done wonderful things.
Yes,
and so
he has.
I think taking that strength and your strength, and building upon each other is a great thing.
Right, and I know that there are experiences and even just time learning that I don't have, being as young as I am, that there are members on city council that I look forward to working with who are still there, who will be serving in the coming years, that I look forward to working with to make Rexburg as good of a place as it can be.
Well, and I'm hearing what you're saying, and I really like what you're saying. Let's build upon what's there. Let's work with the people who are there, those who are experienced, but let's add in my generation. Let's add in my vision, my understanding, and how things are working and where it's going, and put them together.
Right.
That's great.
To build on that a little bit more, where things have kind of been run the same way, it's kind of been stagnant. There hasn't been a lot of, I'd say, technology, big strides forward with government and things like that. If you were to get elected as mayor, how do you think that would be received with the city council? Do you think there would be pushback from them? Do you feel like they would just, welcome it with open arms? Or how do you feel like that kind of transition of modernizing the way the city is run and modernizing city council meetings and getting your voice out to more people, how do you think that'll be received by the city council?
I think there are people on city council who think that's a great idea. I think change is hard for anybody. Change, making something different than the way it is always difficult, and I don't plan on upsetting the system. I think that the system is great. I think we need to add to it. There's this idea of synergy where you take one thing and another thing and you add it together and you get more than either things are separate. And I think that can definitely happen here in Rexburg with the traditions that are here. Let's hold on to them. Rexburg has amazing small town atmosphere that I love and I want to keep here. It's growing. The college is hiring more people, admitting more students. It's bringing people to Rexburg. The city wants more businesses to come to Rexburg, which will help growth. And I think that growth can be good when we can control the direction of growth without hindering the growth that is inevitable.
Just in talking about the university, in the pre-show we talked a little bit about a forum that happened the other night at the Romance Theater where all the candidates were there for mayor, city council, and the question was posed about the relationship between BYU Idaho and the city council. Now everybody went down the line and said, we think it's a great, solid relationship, but you had a different answer.
Yeah, so the question was talked about like the relationship between college and community, and a lot of the candidates talked about the relationship between City Hall and BYU Idaho, which is a great relationship. Administratively, they're getting a lot done. They are talking, communicating, working very well together, and I think we just move forward into the future with that relationship. There is a great relationship there. Some other candidates talked about the need for the students here in Rexburg because they come with some of their money and some of their parents' money and help the community grow. But there is a disconnect between the citizens of Rexburg and the college students, where the citizens of Rexburg see the college students as a threat to their way of life, of the traditions and atmosphere that they have here. And the college students coming into Rexburg feel underappreciated with some of the values and skill sets that they want to bring to this town. And so there is a disconnect there. And I felt like it appropriate to acknowledge that. And there are ways that can be addressed.
And you've been involved in ways that have kind of helped break those barriers.
I have, yeah. It's through my experience with the farmers market. We did not build the farmers market as a means to narrow the gap between the college and the community. But it happened naturally because we have vendors who are college students. Mm-hmm. We have vendors who are citizens of this area their entire life. We had customers coming from both the community and the college, and they hold this value to good things. Like the values of both sides are very similar, and it just that gap just dissipates naturally when an environment where they can come together and be equally understood is there.
Now, I want to ask you, again in the pre-show, you named off a couple of areas that you feel are important that are missing in the community. One of them was a dog park.
Yeah.
What things would you envision are important to the community that it's lacking that you would spearhead and put some emphasis in?
Dog Park is one of them. Really high on my list is continuing the efforts in road repair, construction, and snow removal. I think the people of Rexburg have continually voiced their concerns about those efforts. And I know the city is continually putting more money into the budgets to fix the roads and get the snow cleared. The city just this year bought a new grader, which I commend them for in helping address those issues. And I feel that if the issue is still being voiced, then more needs to be done, regardless of how much has been done already. And so in issues to the road, let's put more there. And I'm not talking about increasing taxes or adding levies to get the job done. I think we can be better stewards of the revenue that we already receive. I think rather than trying to find $50,000 from one budget to put to another, we need to find 10 places where we can pull $5,000 and move to the budget. And, you know, in my personal experience in budgeting and learning, it's not let's find $500, let's find $50 10 times. And that makes a significant difference. And I know the city is working very well with the budget and getting things done. But if people are voicing concern that not enough is being done, then we need to help the people see that this is what we have going on. And that goes back to transparency that I want to offer. Is the city does have plans for lots of road construction and lights being put in. And we bought a grader. How many people don't know that the city just bought a new grader for snow removal?
I didn't know.
And again, if we help people understand that those things are being done, then the voiced concerns will be addressed.
That's a very good point. The more informed that the community is, the less questions they're going to ask because they go, oh,
right.
I didn't know that, but good to know.
Like, oh, I see that there's a pothole on my street. Oh, but I know that the city is planning on fixing that at this time, so that they're not going to say anything about it. They understand that it is already being addressed.
That's good. That's good.
Now, one question I have is do you feel like getting people more involved? So just to kind of set the scene for where my question is going is, we have a lot of people that voice their concerns in the community.
Yeah.
We have almost nobody that goes to city council meetings.
Yep.
We have like 10% voter turnout.
Yes.
Yet people still complain.
Yes.
Okay, so do you feel like being able to push the information of what the city is doing out to the world or out to Rexburg will help in turn with people being more involved with the community, better voter turnout, things like that?
Yes, it will. People, when they have information, they process it, and that helps move them to action. When we have thoughts on something, we can talk about those things, and then talking about things leads us to action. If we don't have information to think on, then nothing is done other than I see that nothing's being done and I'm going to voice my concern about it. So I truly feel that if people have the information that they're wanting without having to actively try and find it, they will naturally want to be more involved.
And that's really the way the world has shifted nowadays is we're an information-driven generation.
Yeah.
Or this is just how the world is. We want information given to us. We don't want to have to go look in an encyclopedia to go find it.
Right.
So, you know, and where everything else has kind of shifted that way with everything, really, with the internet and with Google and with whatever. The government has not really shifted that way. You still have to go search things,
yes.
which as kind of a community now, or just people in general, we're not used to that.
Right.
That's out of the ordinary now.
Yeah.
So it's time that probably that has a major shift to where people can get that in front of their face without having to go find it.
Yeah. It's hard right now to find information on what's going on, or even some of the city ordinances that are passed, or the plans for what was happening in the future. You can go through and read city council minutes, but to understand, like if you're looking for one thing in particular, reading through documents and documents of city council minutes, trying to find the one piece of information you have is unacceptable. I feel it's unacceptable. I think people need to be able to get on and be like, I want to know, is this road in Rexburg going to be repaired, and have it pull up on a search and be like, this is the plan. Like, or they sitting down in front of the TV right before they go to bed one night and pull out their phone and start scrolling through Facebook and see a post from the city of Rexburg being like, hey, this road's going to be under construction tomorrow morning, and they think, oh, I might need to wake up 5 minutes early to commute around that road. Yeah. That's something that I think is easily done but isn't being done.
You know, and it's interesting because I remember it was a few years ago. It was the county commissioners were having a meeting next door at the courthouse, and it was all about this new road that was going to continue University. Instead of taking a big bend to head towards 7th South, it was just going to continue going straight through the farm fields and wrap around to Sugar City. Something I never even knew about. I'd heard about it that day. Got permission to actually go live stream that meeting so that more of the community could be involved. And we just live streamed it, I think, on our Team Green page, on our business page that we have. And the people that watched that, it was unreal how many viewers just started tuning in, and staying on.
Right.
Because people do want to go to those things. I didn't know about it until the day of.
Right.
So just that in general, I think, will help so much in just getting people more involved in the community, letting their voices be heard. And like you mentioned in the pre-show, being able to hold the city council more accountable to the public.
Right. And that's my plan as a mayor. People have asked me why I'm not running for city council, or why am I running for mayor. I feel as a mayor I can meet this need of the people better than as a city council member. The city council works really well together in making the decisions and deliberating what Rexburg needs done. As a mayor, I wouldn't have a vote in what is being done, but I can make sure that things are being live streamed, that information is being published on the services that people are wanting the information. They don't have to go searching for it. As a mayor, I can hold city council accountable to the public and work with the experience and knowledge that city council has in making Rexburg as good a place as it can be.
Yeah. Now, I just want to go back to this again because I just think it's so interesting, and I'm just surprised how, I guess, how big of a subject it's become of your age.
Yeah.
And so people they've used that against you. Oh, he's too young to run for mayor. But like we talked about 70% of Rexburg is between the ages of 20 and 30. Almost 70% of Rexburg is your age.
Yeah, 60 to 70% of Rexburg, according to according to the most recent census estimated to 2019, the majority of Rexburg is between the ages of 20 and 30.
So you've got a lot of potential voters on your side.
Yeah, but the trouble is we don't have voter turnout.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to get. And we're trying to get people involved. There are people here who have been involved with voting every year. They know what's going on, and that's great. I think we need to get more people involved because that's what the democracy, this system that is America is all about. The freedoms that we have the freedom to vote. We have the freedom to have influence on the decisions that our city makes, and I am trying to make it easier for people to be involved.
Yeah.
And being as young as I am, I'm at the older end of that generation here in Rexburg, and so I feel like I can relate very well to both sides.
Yeah.
Because I've had conversation with people who have lived here their entire life and are retired and remember how Rexburg was, and they recognize that Rexburg is growing. I recognize that Rexburg is growing, but I love hearing how the traditions of the people who were born and raised here are still here.
And that is something I'm hearing you say is, yes, times are moving on. Yes, we're growing. Yes, the millennial generation is taking the place of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Things are marching forward. But I'm hearing you say that you're not in any way going to let go of this spirit of Rexburg or Rix or what's been built here. You're just going to take and keep that moving forward in today's world. So you're balanced in your vision for where you want to go.
Yeah, I feel like I really am. Like that feel that is here is what wants me to stay. Like
that's great.
And I want to help it just move forward with that. I don't want to lose that with some of the other things that are coming up.
You're not wanting to change it. You're wanting to enhance it and improve it and almost even protect it moving forward for generations.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing.
I want Rexburg to be the place that people see as different. Like Rexburg, Idaho is a legend.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good.
We've got about 6 minutes left, so maybe time for just a couple more quick questions. But one thing that came up in our pre-show, and one thing we learned last time you were on our show, is you have a beautiful daughter, Adeline.
Yes.
And she came up during our pre-show because she has special needs.
She does.
And one thing that you had mentioned is you don't feel that that she's able to be involved or a part of the community as much as you would like her to, which is probably something most people wouldn't realize unless they were in your situation.
Yeah, and
right?
there are many people in Rexburg who have different situations that are in a way like minorities with disability, special needs, or even just feeling left out.
Yeah.
And I don't want Rexburg to be a place where people feel left out. I want people to be able to take advantage and participate in all that Rexburg has to offer.
And how can we accomplish that, do you think? Because that's a tough thing to do.
That is a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
I think when they redid Park Street Park, that helped so many more people be involved. That is a busy park for being such a small park.
Yeah.
There is adaptive equipment there that meets needs of children who don't play in the traditional way, who may be autistic or have some other form of disability. Like, they can be there and be involved with the regular kids.
And be
Burton
having
Elementary
fun.
School made efforts to make playgrounds for everyone that can be involved. The adaptive equipment that's at these places doesn't exclude the people who other equipment appeals to. It involves everybody, and I think that's something that we can take and learn from and apply to other parts of Rexburg. Rexburg is full of parks. Rexburg loves getting outside to the parks, and I think that we can just continue to make that a place that brings people together of all kinds, because Rexburg is a place where people from all over come to.
I agree. I just got a comment on that. I love our parks. I love to see how well kept they are and what they offer. It's a great thing. We've got some of the most largest and beautiful, maintained, beautiful parks. I love it.
Yeah, and that's part of what makes Rexburg so amazing is the parks. In 10 years, in 2029, the city is planning on a big centennial park celebration. Porter Park was opened in 1929, almost 100 years ago, and
Wow.
and the city is planning a big event to commemorate that being the first park in Rexburg.
That's great.
And they have plans to add more parks and build a trail system from Rexburg into Madison County and just build on that. And I think that is great. And I think we can add to it and making sure that everybody, one, knows what the plans are, what's going on, and make sure that everybody here in Rexburg can participate in it.
And feel the excitement and the anticipation of it and be involved in it and making it a good, positive environment and experience for everybody, not just poof, this happened.
Right.
So, great.
And probably just in the last couple minutes, the last question I think, at least I want to ask, is the inspiration. What was your inspiration for wanting to run for mayor? Because people don't just wake up one day and say, I think I'll run for mayor today.
No, they don't.
know?
It's throughout mostly the past year, the last 12 months, it's crossed my mind a couple times. It had come up once or twice before then, and I kind of put it off as like this crazy idea, but the more involved I was with the farmers market and talking to people and seeing the work that Rexburg is doing, the more I wanted to be involved. And I really just kind of I took it to prayer and was like, is this something I could do? And talking with my family and my friends and other people in the community that I respect, and they're like, do it, like, get involved, because we need somebody to be involved. And I was raised where if you see a need and something that needs to be done, don't wait for somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want it to be 10 years from now when Rexburg recognized that more could have been done 10 years ago. I think that there are things that the city is working on trying to catch up on, and I think that we can get caught up, but I don't want this to be one thing that we fall behind on before we get there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. So, did you have anything else you wanted to?
You know, I don't. I applaud that you're excited and motivated. That you see a vision. That you see what's been built and created by the founding fathers of Rexburg and the current mayor, and what your vision to take it from where it is and just build upon it and expand it and grow it, solidify it, protect it, and just take your vision to the finish line. And I think that's a wonderful thing, and I commend you for doing that.
Thank you. I feel that I have had sufficient experience that I'm ready to take the mantle that's been built and carry it forward in representing the community of Rexburg as a whole and letting their voices be heard.
I like what you said about sufficient experience. Some may look at you, again, as the millennial going, he doesn't have enough experience. He doesn't have enough time in the saddle. He doesn't have enough whatever it may be. But you have sufficient.
Yeah.
You have enough of what it takes to take the baton and move it forward.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So, well, we sure appreciate you coming on. We're
I'm glad
excited
to
to
be
see
here.
how
Yeah.
it goes. And Rexburg, we appreciate you tuning in at the Rexburg Hustle today. We're season 2, episode 4. Stay tuned next time, next week. We'd love to share more with you. Rick, anything else?
Yeah, just we have a gift for you. So just remember your time here on the Hustle.
There you go.
So that is for you, and we will have another one for you for your farmers market episode.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on the Rexburg Hustle, and yeah, like Travis said, well, hopefully we'll see you guys next week. There's there's the plaque.
That's great.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
you bet.
Well, thanks for coming on, Rexburg. We'll see you next week. We appreciate you. Stay tuned next time.
Awesome. Okay.